Oh boy. So I'm in the shop WRX. It's a 23, uh, 23 WRX. Yeah, I'm in my picture bigger so you guys can see the disappointment on my face. I'm in the shop WRX. It's 23. Um, Chase got it so that hopefully we can start doing stuff to it. And the internet has been hot and cold on this car. It's been, oh my God, this car is so awesome. It makes a gajillion horsepower, blah, 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 blah. And then it's been the opposite, like, what a freaking POS. What the hell was Subaru thinking? There's not a whole lot of people in the middle. And I've always been kind of in the middle. Yeah, I don't like the way it looks. I mean, I like the front end. I don't like the fender flare thingies. I hate the rear bumper. Like, what in the name of underbite crap is that in the back? Like, it is just absolutely hideous. Um, and of course, it's a Subaru, so it came, jacked to the sky with way too much suspension and all that on it. So, yeah, the interior is all right, but you hear that? That is the sound of hard plastic. Oh, at least that part's soft. They got that part softer. Nice. But there's so much hard plastic in these things, man. Ever since Toyota got involved in 2008, the interior on the Subaru is just trash, man. I hate touching it. I don't like being in them. That's what it boils down to. I don't like the interior. At least on this one, they went a little more stylish for the vents. They got some sleekness to them. Here, let's take them out. Right, if you haven't seen it, right, nice sleek looking vents here and over here. Right, looks a lot like a Toyota Avalon because that's what Subaru needed was more Toyota hues. Um, and the big screen, yeah, it actually looks a lot like an Avalon. Really, I guess I should have realized that earlier. Um, but they still just have some hideous stuff in here. And I don't like touching anything in it, honestly. I don't find myself going, oh, this is sweet. Like my RS, my 2001, I'd rather sit in that any day of the week than this. They just have nice, like the dash it isn't that hard plastic crap. It's padded, it's soft, it's tactile in pleasurably tactile ways, I should say. I don't know. But overall, I know that people like these cars. Um, they absolutely increased the technology in them. The screen quality is great, and I think the backup camera might be better. I don't know. I was hoping it would turn on right there, but it didn't. Um, the backup camera on some of these modern cars blows my mind at how bad it is. So bad, like so bad. These though, not aren't so bad. They did a little better, but like every time I pull a Dodge in on the dyno, I just like, what is going on? This screen is from like 2008 on this thing. It's a 15 Dodge, and it's highly pixelated and just not attractive. Screen. You're looking at it like, what is this? 240 fucking p, like 240p resolution on it. That's pretty bad. But the WRX is better than that, thankfully. Once I get done getting this thing ready to start, I will put it in reverse, and we'll do that. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm just resetting the ECU so it's bone stock, because we're going to do some baseline tests on a bone stock calibration on it. Just make sure everything is reset. Nice long crank. I already said it. All right, I'm putting reverse here. The fuck is that? Okay. Okay. All right. So this is something that I always wondered about. Years ago, many manufacturers started doing the lines that show you where you're going, and when you turn the wheel, like the lines would go with the wheel. And Subaru didn't do that, but this one has it now. I see these little orange lines moving as I turn the wheel. So hey, yay technology! They added some stuff to it. That's cool, and it's pretty close. And just so you know, that's just off the steering position sensor, right? There's a sensor in here that tells the ECU which way the wheel's pointed, and all it does is pull that off the CAN bus, and then knowing what the sensor's at, it just draws lines, an arc based on the steering position. That's all that is. So all right, so we're here. The car's warming up. She's got 4,000 miles on it. 4,523 miles, and I don't think the owner ever changed the oil in it. So it's pretty stock, other than it's got a catback on it. It's got the mid pipe and muffler deletes on it. So other than that, it is stock. So we're gonna see if I can figure out what's going on here. All right, this one. There it is. Now I can see people's chat. There it is. It's funny that a lot of people hate it. A lot of people are buying them, says Connor. Buckle seatbelt into itself. Yeah, Prius suits have more character for sure. Irish car manufacturers would go back to analog interiors, tuning or baseline runs. Okay, so to address all those things that were said, I will plug in the seatbelt. It's not bleeping now though. The seatbelt. I hit the horn. People can come running because they think I'm honking for them. There's an accident. Ah, the seatbelt. Okay, stubborn. F you, seatbelt. All right. Okay, seatbelt. Hey, buddy. Hey, Bradley. Analog interiors. Yes. Okay. So I fucking hate the touchscreens. I hate it. I hate the touchscreens. Like when I'm driving my old car, I can without taking my eyes off the road, I can adjust my fan speed, adjust my climate control, temperature, stereo station, fucking volume, all that stuff, and never have to look anywhere, right? Because nice tactile knobs and switches. Yeah, I love that. I hate this touchscreen bullshit, you know? Maybe as a secondary, sure, but as a primary, the fucking climate controls on this touchscreen. Like, how do you can't just reach down and grab a knob and turn it, right? Oh, I'm in traffic. Oh, it's fucking hot. Oh, bloop. All right, let's turn the fan on. I don't gotta look. Now you're like, oh, I'm in traffic. I'm hot. Oh, here's the smash off. Fuck. Now I'm bleeding everywhere on my brand new interior. Blah, on my face. I don't know. Obviously an exaggeration, but oh man, I hate it. I hate this shit. This fucking button thing. What is this about? I don't want that. If you're gonna have it be electronic, digital bullshit like this, then just have it voice. Just be like, bloop, and she's like, yes, master. Blowjob mode is disabled, but what else can I do for you? And like, oh yeah, turn the fan on, please. That'd be great. Appreciate it. That's how I feel about it. It's stupid. Like it's absolutely stupid to have everything on this touchscreen. It's annoying. Yeah, everyone's used to doing this all the time, but the problem is they're doing this and not watching the road. I hate it. All right, rant over about that. Mustang GTD. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I don't know what a Mustang GTD is. What's the D stand for? I don't know. Let's see. All right, we're warm now. All right, engine's warm. Cool. Okay. So I am going to. I wonder if I can log. Let's see. This is an access port, and it's married to the car, but it's on stage 0. And I'm going to see if the stage 0 is the same power output as the factory one. So you see here it says stage 0. Now, part of me wanted to unmarry it, but just to go from stage 1 to stage 0 took like 10 fucking minutes. Like, what? I don't understand why the access ports keep getting slower. Like, an access port update used to be like 30 seconds. Now it takes 10 minutes to update the access port. Flash in a car used to be like 10 to fucking 30 seconds. It took almost 15. I had time to surf the internet, download some apps, change some apps, uninstall the apps. I like how they work because the advertisements are coming through. Check my email, answer some text messages. I mean, I was doing a ton of shit just waiting for it to go from stage 1 to stage 0. Like, what is going on? Yeah, it's insane. Like, I don't know why it's so slow. So they're not getting any fucking bonus points from me. I got a call. Who's this for? I gotta take this one. Hold on. Hello, Donnie speaking. Hi, with who? Oh, hi. Sweet. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Emmanuel and Meyer. Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah. Yeah, I can back my dually up to your thing. If you want. Let me see. That like the whole day? Okay, let me see. Let me just pop up my schedule real quick here. I'm available in the morning. Yeah. Oh, you said 9 to 5. Did you not mean that? Oh, I see. I mean, it's barely residential. It's a farm. You don't got to go anywhere. How long is the trailer in your semi? Oh, okay. That's not a big deal. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Works for me. Yep. Hey, man. Thanks. You do. My shock dyno's here. My shock dyno is here, so that's gonna be a good time. Let's see. The Ford new GT2 class street legal car. It has a trans-axle, carbon body, magnesium wheels, and horsepower. Hey, that sounds fucking cool. That sounds really cool. I like the transaxles. I like carbon bodies. I like carbon magnesium wheels. I mean, ain't that much lighter than aluminum, Jesus Christ. But yeah, that's fucking cool. And I definitely like 800 horsepower. A whole generation of drivers who don't know how to turn around and park their car. Right. So why the hell are they taking their eyes off the road to punch buttons? Like, holy shit. It's insane. Um, you have to pay Elon extra and get verified to get that mode. It would come in form of right. Yeah. Blue check mark. Yep. Just disabled though. Okay. All right, so this is stage 0 mode. I'm gonna open up the COB software and connect to the access port, and we're gonna log it in stage 0. Oh, well, update's available. I gotta download a fucking update. Of course, if I don't, we can't afford to save your system. Sure. Thanks, COB. Sweet. I mean, it's great that they're doing these things. Oh, and I bet they're super proud of this. Let me show you this. I bet you somebody at COB gets a fucking hard on every time they put the sticker on the box. It says that the stage 1 calibration is CARB EO certified. Yeah. So that means that you can run this COB access port and the stage 1 tune anywhere that they check federal emissions, and you're good to go. As long as the rest of the car adheres to the restrictions, placed on this map. So now that's an accomplishment. I don't want to take anything from COB on that. That is a huge accomplishment. That's hard to do. At least I'm told it's hard to do by COB. So maybe it's easy. I don't know. But it seems like everybody's got one now. K&N and COB, and everybody's got one of these things. So I'm sure there's probably something to it. But when you go as far as changing the calibration on the ECU, it's probably a little more in depth than just changing the air intake and saying, look, fuel trims aren't different. So that's an accomplishment. I'm sure someone's really proud of that at COB. And that's cool. And I also acknowledge, just to put that out there, as much as I give COB a lot of hate because they piss me off immensely in multiple occasions, I absolutely also acknowledge that the work that COB and other companies have done in um, in I want to use the right word here, but I say in association with, or in cahoots with SEMA organization, that kind of stuff. have really been working to save our industry and allowing us to do stuff. So I acknowledge Cobb for that, and I appreciate their efforts in that. I don't always agree with how they went about doing it and how they fucked a bunch of people over, but overall they've been trying to improve things for us. Them and SEMA and a bunch of other companies have been pushing back really hard on the EPA. And if you haven't heard, the EPA is pulling back on their aftermarket stuff a little bit. They're supposed to be doing a lot less of the raids and the lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. So supposedly they're backing up a little bit on that. But I'm certain that that's not going to exclude there from being spot checks on companies that have already gotten in trouble with them. They've already done X or Y, and they've been and they're currently under EPA monitoring, I would say. So you can bet that the EPA checks up on Cobb. Who knows how frequently? I have no idea how frequently that would be, but you can fucking bet that the EPA checks up on Cobb after they made them change the software and all of that. So I'm certain that there is a new level of regulation and just absolute overbearing legislation and everything against these companies. So that they have to stay compliant through that time. Or from this point on, I should say. Okay, so access port is now plugged in. Cobb software is turned on. Hey, $10, Mr. Physical. Thank you very, very much. Beer funds, nice. I don't drink a lot of beer anymore, honestly. Mostly just whiskey. So next time 40. I'm just kidding. I'm absolutely kidding. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't drink beer anymore, honestly. I drink just whiskey, some old fashions or some nice on the rocks or even neat, depends on what it is. Whiskey, whether it be something cheaper but old fashioned like Buffalo Trace, or something rarer like a single cask barrel strength Four Roses, or even rarer than that, I've got some a bunch of single runs, barrel proofs, things like that of various. I got a section. I have a section. I got stuff that used to be super cheap and easy to find that's now hard to find, like Eagle Rare, for example, things like that. So mostly just whiskey now. But yes, no, I totally appreciate it. Thank you very much. See, I'm in a bar right now. Right on. We'll pour one out for me then. Smoky Mango Habanero Whiskey. Smoky Mango Habanero. Interesting. I have a ton of habanero at home because my wife and I have a pretty big garden, and we grow a lot of peppers. I've got habanero powder coming down my ears. Yep. And can you imagine me gross if I actually gross. Yeah, I got habaneros, serranos, cayennes, jalapenos, 2 different varieties, Anaheims. Oh, and these little freaking ornamental hot type peppers, like this big. They're little red guys that the tree they grow up on this tree, look like a little Christmas tree. They freaking melt your face off. They are spicy as shit. So, anyways, I got an appointment at 4:00. Sweet. Let me get this Cobb software up here. See what's going on here. Application. Where'd it go? There it is. They moved it. All right. Well, here we are. Okay, WRX. This is 23. Math only. I don't know. I guess yes. Let's see. I just want to see if I can log the damn thing. Okay. All right. Okay, we're in. some corrections. We'll do one, learning. We'll do the sensor ratio. We'll do the cam timing, intake and exhaust. I'm kind of curious about my accelerator versus what it gives me, because these things are really weird. Boost limits, boost target relative. There we go. I have no idea how many things I can log at once on this. We'll see if I get too many and just goes poof, my laptop starts smoking or not. Calculated load, definitely curious about that. Field final, let's see what it's commanding. Multiplier, we'll see. We'll fuck with that a little bit, see if we can get to climb some before we give us before we get the final say on what's going on with it. We'll do the feedbacks, of course. We expect those. I'm not too concerned about fuel pressure and that kind of stuff right now because I'm not tuning it. We just want to see what she's doing, see what kind of timing we're getting on this engine. I've never seen the timing curve on this thing, so I don't know how crazy it is on timing. I don't care about that. We'll do the manifold and pre-turbo. We'll see what we're getting. Air temps, see how good the intercooler is working on it. Definitely boost. We want to know that. Mass airflow, yeah, we'll just put that in there. Compare that to the wheel horsepower, see how close they are on this thing. That gives us an idea what kind of drivetrain loss this car has versus other cars that we do. And then the actual throttle position, that's my foot, because I want to see what's going on there. Boost error, see if this is doing the gigantic corrections that we get on the on like the 20s, because the 20s are horrendous as far as what they give for correction when they boost spike. So let's see. Can't see any of the windows. Can't see any of the windows. I'm looking at it on the thing. Oh yeah, you wouldn't see that window. Yeah. And I was just going through the logs and narrating for you what you want. These things, the OBS doesn't pick up the sub windows. So I was just going through the login list and I was telling you what parameters I was selecting for the log. So and even if you could see the window, you probably couldn't see the words because it's so small. But now you can see when I actually open tables. For example, here's a target table. Right here. It's blank. There it is. Okay, and there's the table. So you see that. I was just doing the login list so that I can bring the log up, which you probably can't see either. So what I'm going to do is go back to OBS, and I'm going to add another window. And I'm going to say Cobb Logger. I'm going to call that, and it pops up right there. I'm going to bring this guy, and I can put wherever I want. That's actually the beauty of this. I can put it wherever I want. So I'm going to set it right here over these explanation right there, because that's a good spot for it to be. I'm going to pop my face back on top because, you know, because it's me. Like, why wouldn't I want that? And then just for SMGs, we're also going to take this guy, and whoopsie, wrong button. I'm going to bring this back on top. Look at that. There we go. Now I have a video. How's that production quality? Okay, so here we are on the dyno. Let me get my freaking thing popped open again so I can see what's going on. All right, air fuel learning 3.5%. That's pretty expected for a stock car. I'm going to just drive it casually here. I still need to set the tach on the dyno. I should probably turn the trash control off because it might get angry when I give it some throttle here. It's in track mode. I should be able to hold it down though for a while. Have it turn off, right? Or do they not do that anymore? It didn't change, so I guess not. All right, so first part of the dyno is I go to 60 miles per hour. Put the RPM in my test gear, which is going to be fourth gear. So we'll go to fourth gear. I'm going to set the tach. That's really weird. It's all right. I'm trying to explain what I'm seeing here. The tach is not linked to the speedo. It's the tach is actually going up and then come back down again as the speedo climbs up, which is usually an indication of a slipping clutch. But I can't help but think that potentially it's just actually like CAN bus lag. Um, that is really weird. I mean, unless the owner has no idea how to drive a stick and has already burned the clutch up. But yeah, that's really weird. The tach will go up and come down as the speedo is still coming up. Interesting. So I think that's just gonna be CAN bus lag. I think they've just got the speedo going slow. And a lot of people probably wouldn't even notice that, but someone who sits in a car all the time and does this, it is glaringly obvious to me, and it's unnerving, honestly, because it's a manual, and so I instinctively go, "Whoa, let off the throttle, the clutch is slipping." So that's really weird. That is definitely weird. Yeah, it just wiggles around while the speedo stays somewhere. That's bizarre. Okay, well they changed the ratio on this car. 2550, 2600. What we got? Or 3600? Yeah, so 3550. So the older cars in fourth gear, this RPM was like 3750. This is 3550, so it's a slightly different ratio. I didn't think it was. Um, Maybe I'm thinking of just the STI, and the STI is different than the WRX. It could be that. I know an STI in fourth is 3750, so maybe that's what I'm thinking of. All right, gotta set this. Gotta reset this. I actually just had an Audi R8 on the dyno before this car, and I wasn't tuning it. I was just running it for my friend John Drenus, who was tuning 5150. He was remote tuning it, and unfortunately, it had some problems. They got to go back and fix it, bring it back. But it was on its way to being a lot of fun. I was looking forward to doing it. Okay, so here we are. Right now I'm at 2,000 RPM. You can see that on the logging screen right there. The dam has gone to 875 with a little bit of load I put on it. So that's one reason, like I said, I wanted to drive it a little bit and see if that dam would come up. I want to see if it's going to come up on its own. Um, and that way that the power output is as representative as it can be on pump gas with the catback and not be inaccurate or unreasonable. So there we are. All right, so I'm going to move the dyno mode. Going to clear the Audi stuff off the screen. And I'm going to do a pull. Let's log it. Wow. Okay, so that was wow. Insert meme right now. Wow. Yeah. I'm gonna try and pick something and go over each thing individually here in a second. Let me just let the initial shock set in, and then I will. The dyno is still scaled to 800 for the Audi, so that's obviously not going to work for this fucking shitbox. So let me fix that. I hate the internet sometimes. All right. Why that girl looks so angry? Look at she would look so angry. I think she had big tits though, so she can't be that angry. She got big boobs. What's she so upset about? Um. Uh, okay. So as I started the poll, I looked at the screen. I was looking at the log to see where the cams were during the poll. And if you look at this log right here, oh, I don't know if it's showing actually. Let me see if the log's showing. I'm gonna have to grab this window too. I do. I got this one window. Have you had someone check out the oil pickup tube? No. I don't know if the WRX has the same problem as BRZs. Honestly, I don't know. It's a different engine. It's not the BRZ engine, right? Like the FAs and the WRX and the BRZs are different. So I don't know if it's gonna be the same issue with them. Yeah, they're not the same. So let me get one more window here. Log viewer. There we go. Hit OK. I'm gonna blow this one up so you guys can see it better. All right. So what I want you to see, and this is what I saw, and this is what made me go, what the hell? So I gave it throttle. You see, I rolled into it. Before I rolled into it, AVCS was pretty advanced, or pretty retarded on the exhaust and retarded on the intake. So I had a ton of retard on both intake and exhaust. And then as I rolled in, the retard went away on the exhaust, 30-something degrees less, and the intake advanced to a whole 8. And then it went up into just the teens. And that is extremely surprising to me. That part there, wow. So the intake advanced into the teens, and the exhaust threw some retard back in again, as you can see, into the teens as well. But it only went into the teens. Not even high teens, like low teens. And then drops again. So the exhaust goes retarded, not retarded, retarded, less retarded. So the exhaust is doing this through the direction of the pole. Interesting enough. And the intake goes from really retarded to advanced and then slowly goes back to retarded. Intake operates completely as expected through the duration of the pole. Exhaust, a little bit, and it fell back again. Jesus Christ. So the exhaust went retarded, less retarded, more retarded, less retarded. Where'd you go? Less retarded, and then more retarded again. Oh, but only by a degree, so it doesn't count. Until there. Until there. Then a bunch more retarded again at the top. Even while my accelerator is at 100, that's because I hit the rev limiter. See that? So my accelerator still says 100, but if we go to actual throttle, you see it disappeared quite a while ago. So that was the rev limiter catching me by surprise, because the rev limiter happened at 6,000 RPM. 6,000. That's it. That's all this thing's revving to. Ooh. Now, why 6,000? Why is it only going to 6,000? Well, it's only going to 6,000 because it still has a long stroke, but now it's got a bigger bore. So it's got even more piston weight to sling around with that tiny little rod on that. So, like, if you start trying to push 7 out of this thing, I can't imagine it holding together. I mean, I could be wrong, but I really think that a rod bending was on the horizon, and many rod bendings are on the horizon, in my opinion. Let me tell you, I bet there are many rod bendings happening in the near future on this engine. So, okay, let's go to the air-fuel ratio. So I first got into it here. We're looking at 12 to 13, and it stays 13 for a while. Then it gets into the 12s, around 4,000. Wow, so it stays lean all the way to 4,000. And then it richens into the 11s and holds 11s until it's done with the pole, looks like. Let's see. And it's throttle 100. So 11s, 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 and then that's it. We got 13 out of it here. Yeah. Boost target. Now this actually surprises me because in the 20 it was such a problem. If you look here at this boost error here, this section, it's very close to target. It's not wavering too far from boost target, except for that spot right there over a pound. And this is the beginning of the pull where of course it's off. But during the pull, it's within a pound the whole time. Now that didn't exist on the FA20 from the factory. That was not a thing that you got. So congrats on Subaru for finally figuring out how boost control works. It didn't take them that long. Let's see what we got here for airflow. Airflow, we pulled in 215, 216. Here's a 18 in static, basically. But overall, we can see it's probably about 215 is the average airflow there at the top end, maybe 16. There's a couple more 17s. So it's saying like 215, 216 grams per second, which on this dyno is usually within 10% of wheel horsepower. And in this case, the wheel horsepower was 214. So I would say that's really close. That's really close to what we would expect. And you can add about 15 to 20 to that for a dyno jet, which I'm sure you've probably seen these things do on the internet. This thing makes 250 wheel horsepower stock, which obviously it fucking doesn't, but it's a dyno jet. This number, 214, wow, that actually makes sense for what this engine is rated at and what the horsepower output is. Go figure, right? But, everybody says their dyno is the best. But, this car is overrated or underrated. Now, shut the fuck up. It's not underrated. It made exactly what you'd expect it to make. Let's look at the dam. The dam stayed at 8.75. Oh, went to 1 by the end. Okay, cool. So, with the dam at 1 now, we're going to do the pull. I'm really shocked, actually. I'm really shocked the dam stayed at 1. Even though we do see some feedback knock correction here at the beginning of the pull. Negative 141. Hide your children. But nothing on the top end. That's surprising, honestly. Nothing on the top end. So, that's good. I'm honestly, I'm really surprised at what just happened there. I think some of it was terrible. 6,000 RPM sucks balls. The pull was over forever ago. And but the torque is super flat. There's no big dips like that BRZ had, for example. But we're gonna do this again. Now we got the dam's at 1. We're gonna do another pull. Wow, that shifting is not smooth. Ugh. 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 Not a fan. Not a fan of that. All right, let's do it again. Do another pull. All right. It made less power everywhere. Okay. Right? Am I seeing that right? Yep, made less power everywhere. So with the dam higher, it made less oomph. Let's see what we got. Let's double check this log really quick. I don't want to spend a ton of time reviewing this log. I just want to show you guys generally what happened. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, no knock. No knock, that's cool. But no learning. That's also weird because it just went up. But let's look at the timing. So timing drops down at 3,000 to half a degree, then hovers at 35, we're at 5 degrees, 7 by 45, 7.5 by 55, 10.5 by 6 by red line. And then I let off and everything else goes back up. So not a lot of timing, not a lot of boost, not a lot of fuel, not a lot of power. It's just not a lot. Why is it the Euro market, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, etc. OTS tunes seem to be the norm and work great, and the Subaru, Mitsubishi need tuning for every change and modification? A few things. One, the Subaru's a total pile of shit, so you have that aspect of it, and it's probably going to fail if you don't. But seriously, the biggest thing is that the tuning strategy is totally different. Those other ECUs and the other cars you talked about, those all have Bosch ECUs, and the Bosch ECU is programmed totally different than the Hitachi. I think this is a Hitachi ECU in this one. Those other ECUs are not mass airflow sensor based. They're torque based or load based, depends on how you want to look at it. Those ECUs, the amount of calculations is absolutely ridiculous inside of them. Over-engineered doesn't even begin to describe a Bosch ECU. I looked at the boost control system on the Bosch ECU, not just like what you look on the tables, but the actual formulas that Bosch uses to calculate boost, it's laughably over-engineered. And it's actually over-engineered to the point of being cumbersome and not even that great. Um, the the BMW boost control system is pretty much garbage. Um, Even in stock form, it's not good. Um, it just sucks. It's really bad. But it's so over-engineered and so overcomplicated. They model the turbocharger into the tune. So like the compressor map is loosely modeled into the tune. The turbine map is loosely modeled into the tune. The amount of pressure of horsepower being used by the turbocharger is modeled into the tune. And so they use power required to achieve target as a parameter in the boost control system. And then based on the predicted power required to turn the turbocharger to get to the thing, based off of that, it does a duty cycle to put air into the turbo to hit that power required to turn the turbo target to then also go into the boost control system, right? Like it's just way too much. And it's trash. It's so bad. Honestly, it's really, really bad. But the one thing that they have over the Subaru ECUs is they have full-time closed-loop fueling. Although this one, I think, was full-time closed-loop the whole time. I didn't even look, actually. This might have been full-time, full closed-loop full time. But before that, if this was closed-loop full-time, that's the first. That is an absolute first. The Subaru has never had full-time closed-loop fueling from the factory. And if this one does, it's the first year. But that's the first thing, right? So the BMWs and the Mercedes and all of those, if you do something that would mess up the airflow ratio otherwise, the ECU can see that while you're in power and adjust for it and fix it. Whereas the Subarus don't. As soon as you get into power, it goes open loop. That's it. If you did something that changed the air-fuel ratio of the tune, the ECU doesn't know. It has no idea. And they run lean frequently and burn things up or knock or whatever. So that's the first one. The first one is just that the fueling is closed loop in all those other cars, and it's open loop in all of these cars. Prior to that, prior to the FA, so with the EJ had the intake air temp sensor in the absolute wrong location. It was only in a location that facilitated controlling boost. It was not in a location that facilitated having the correct timing or the correct fuel in the car. And that's a huge issue on those cars. AC was on. I'm gonna turn it off during the poll. So the intake air temp location, huge issue, totally wrong on the EJ. Engine geometry is a huge factor. The engine geometry of the EJ is trash, and I don't have anything nice to say about it. Only thing, I think something nice. Even less power. So we're going the wrong way. Um, what can I say that's nice about the EJ? It's a horizontally opposed boxer that can achieve near perfect balance. But that's not EJ specific. That's boxer specific. Other than that, I have nothing nice to say about the EJ. There's no redeeming qualities to that engine that is better than anything else made. It just isn't. It's got shitty rod ratio, shitty bore to stroke ratio, shitty exhaust ports, kind of shit. Well, shitty intake ports. Starting in '08, the intake ports are laughably, unbelievably gross. Like just absolute ass. The heads from '08 and up, thank you Toyota, are just horrendous. Piece of shit heads. They're so bad. Um, the block castings are weak, bend and flex and fail, and they've only gotten weaker and worse with age or with modification. Subaru has gone to a less and less and less dense aluminum. Like the blocks literally weigh like 15 or 20 pounds lighter now than they did when they were made in like the 701 castings. The sleeves have gotten thinner. They've gotten just weaker overall. Cylinder distribution for air and exhaust is crap. The valve train is a non-regenerative valve train system, so you lose power in that. The belt is so long and it stretches like crazy, you lose cam timing in between the two banks. I don't have anything nice to say about the EJ. So there's literally nothing about it that makes it good. The valve train is also buckets, which is like high RPM motorcycle stuff, but extremely high in friction and weight. I guess not as bad as like a rocker arm for weight, but no rollers and stuff, which means it has different oiling requirements. The oiling's not great. The PCV system is garbage. The cooling system is trash. The cooling distribution is terrible. I mean, that's why I had to do the cooling mod, just to improve the cooling some and reduce how easily they fail, or just one of the reasons they fail so easily. Yeah, I mean, like, why is it that it needs to be tuned for a mod? Because it's always on the verge of breaking. That's the answer. It's always on the verge of breaking. Um, where the other engines are not. I mean, like, every other engine on the market is better than a Subaru. Why do we, or specifically you, continue to tune these Subarus considering this? Um, uh, there's a handful of reasons. Some of them are happy reasons. Some of them are kind of morbid reasons. One of them, I'll start with some of the bad ones first. One, honestly, obligation. Um, obligated. I feel obligated to the community because I've been involved in it for so long, and I see what a lot of other people are getting for service from other people that don't know what the fuck they're doing but charge for it anyways. And it's just a thing. Like I know that I can do it well, better than a lot of people. I know I put more time and effort and science and understanding and math and education and experience into it than many other people. And I just feel like it's something that I'm good at, and it's something that the community deserves, is to have somebody who's still in it, but I think for the right reasons, for providing a good service. So I feel obligated. I've always been kind of obligated to serve in that way. Plus my time in the military and all that other bullshit too. But I don't know. I do feel obligated to the community to be somebody, that's not just trying to take their fucking money. Because there's so many tuners that are just in it for the money, man. They just don't. They lie to their customers every day, and it makes me sick, honestly. The status of our market makes me sick because there's so many tuners that are absolutely full of shit, and they do terrible jobs, and they blow cars up left and right, and they tune your car knowing they're going to blow it up, and they even do shit like tell you that, well, my tune is 1,600 because 1,000 of it goes towards your first motor build, and they've got everyone believing that their engine is going to fail sooner than maybe it would otherwise, and that's okay. It has nothing to do with what they've done, but in actuality, it's everything to do with what they've done, even though there's a lot of weak, shitty parts of the Subaru, like I said. So I I honestly feel obligated to keep doing it. Um, it's so there's that. Two, there's familiarity. Like I'm very familiar with it. I fuck I can look at a bolt and tell you where it goes, kind of stuff. Like I know what everything should look like, what it should feel like, what it should smell like, what it should sound like, all that stuff. I can look at these engines and I can spot an error and install like instantly. I can hear certain things that nobody can hear. I'm so familiar with it and I've been so embedded with it for so long that there's familiarity and there's security and stability in it. So, why do some people like stay in the same job even though they might not enjoy it as much as they used to, right? Like it's stable, it's secure, they know it, they're good at it, that kind of stuff. So there's definitely that bit in there. Um, but also some of it is because it's hard. It's an engine that's always on the verge of breaking, right? Like there's a challenge associated with that. There's there's like I have to try while I'm doing it. I'm doing a tune. I have to try. Still, I'm doing 30 years. I still have to try because I have to listen to everything and make sure that I'm paying attention. Because if you don't, if you just, it's like diffusing bombs. Like the bomb squad, some of those dudes do it forever, knowing that they're like an inch from getting their face blown off. But they do it because there's that thrill, there's that that risk associated with it, and that's kind of tuning a Subaru if you don't want to blow it up. If you want to blow it up, then you do what most other guys do, is be like, plus, 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 oh, it failed, sorry, let's build you a motor. And I don't want to do that. Like, I want their stuff to last. I know that sometimes it's going to fail, and there's nothing I can do about it, but I absolutely want people to have their car for as long as possible without having to put a motor into it, and that kind of stuff. So, um, there's that challenge. Like 4G63s are so easy to tune. It's it's boring. It's holy shit boring. They're so easy to tune. 4G63. What do? Add boost. Okay, pull some timing. Get the air fuel close. And that's it. Like, okay, I got 3 degrees of timing and peak boost, and I've got 11 or so red line. There's a 4G. You're done. What boost level? Doesn't matter. You got enough octane, you got ethanol in it, run 60 pounds of boost, 3 to 11. Like you can almost do that with any 4G. Like there's no challenge to them. They're boring. They're absolutely boring. So the Subaru is that there's a challenge, and that I have to be in the right frame of mind to do it. Even though I've done it for 30 years, you still got to pay attention, still have to listen, still have to feel. You still got to do all this stuff to make sure that you're not breaking something. So that's why. And then I am a problem solver. I love problems. All of my parts that I design, I actually just finished 5 designs last night. All the parts that I design are all well, there's a couple now that aren't, but they've always been about solving problems, finding something that's wrong, and then figuring out how to solve it. So with the Subaru, since there's so many fucking problems, it's like I got to solve problems all the time. I've always been a problem solver. I mean, I made the 2.3, right? That was an answer to a problem. I made the first 2.3 in 2006. I started offering them for sale in 8 or 9. And like they barely caught on at all. And now all of a sudden, Charles Pastrana has a car that's got a billet block, billet heads, billet fucking everything, and it's a 2.3. And so everyone thinks a 2.3 is awesome, totally ignoring the fact that the billet block and heads are why the car makes so much power. Obviously, the geometry is awesome. That's why I did it in the first place. But now the 2.3 is catching. IAG just released their own 2.3. Like, what year is this? 2023. How long has that been now? 14 years ago, I released a 2.3. 14 fucking years ago. Yeah, so 14 years ago, I started selling in public. I was doing custom pistons and rods and selling entire sets of people. And those people that had the 2.3s overwhelmingly loved them. But there's a lot of hate on the internet from other tuners, other builders who were like, oh, it's stupid. Nobody should have a 2.3. 2.3s are dumb. They can't do anything a 2.5 can do. And now those same people are selling 2.3s. You know, like all over the country, buildings all over the country that were shitting on them forever are now selling them. So either they still don't believe in them and they're only doing it for the money, or now they believe in them and they were just fucking really wrong before. Either way, you're welcome. Micah and I, 2.3. That's Micah and I. We did that shit. So yeah, my camshafts are about solving problems. My engine geometry is about solving problems. My cooling mod solving problems. Air water intercooler that you guys haven't seen yet though, that's about solving problems. My oil filters for solving problems. My dry sump is solving problems. My battery tie down is solving problems. Just all my parts about solving problems, and the EJ gives me lots of them to work on. It's like working in a Ford dealership, and you know, like job security, because it's gonna fucking break. So like I have all these things that I could do with the Subaru because there's so many problems with them. Yes. Okay. So power keeps dropping. I'm gonna move this intercooler fan some. I think maybe that might be why it's going down, because it moved during a pull. WRX. So I moved that. I need the end of mine for the day. Hey Jason, I don't know if you just showed up or not, but if you did, uh, someone asked me what was good about the EJ, and I couldn't come up with anything. I was like 5 minutes of me staring into space trying to figure something out. If you missed it, go back and watch it. Wait, I'll replay it for you. I got nothing. That's how it went. Um, and then I went through all the issues with the EJ of how bad it sucks. So, let's see. All right, so fan is better on. Oh, that's what I wanted to check. That log. Let's look at that log real quick. Let's look at the intake air temps. So I want you guys to see something. All right, pre-turbo at the beginning. Intake manifold. See the manifold temps dropping, and it starts climbing again. Okay, so by the end of the pull, see that's really good. So that's what I want you guys to see. The factory intercooler on these things is remarkably good. Every turbo EJ has a really good intercooler, and 9 out of 10 aftermarket options for top mounts are not an improvement. And I only say 9 out of 10 because while I haven't seen one, I'm sure that there's got to be something out there that's better than the stock top mount and top mount location, because none of them that I've seen are. They're only better in one small specific situation, and that is during a drag race pull or on a dyno with an ice cold intercooler before you start a pull. And that's it. There isn't an upgraded top mount that's fucking worth anything. And yet, people buy them all the time. That's our industry. All right, so yeah, look at that. 100 degrees at the end of the pull there. 104 as it soaks a smidge. 106 gets the intake air temp. That's it. So 106. That is really good. Now, that number is going to change drastically when I change this tune to a higher boost value. That temperature value is going to go up a lot. But we're going to do one pull right now. We're going to log that again, and we're going to see what happens on this thing, and with better fan placement, because it kind of was out of place, and we'll see if we get any gains out of it. The dam's at 1 now. I got more intercooling. Let's see what we get. All right, that's our new peak number, 214 wheel. That's 0.2 horsepower higher than our previous peak. But that's 4.5 horse, 3.5 horsepower than our last pull. So overall, though, these pulls are 213.9, 211.2, 210.9, and then 214.1. So really close together, and honestly not too bad. Now this pull's only 3,000 RPM long because I'm starting the pull at 3,000 RPM. I think I want to try one from a lower RPM. All of these were from 3,000 to 6,000. I'm gonna start this a little earlier. I'm gonna kind of bog it a little bit. We'll see what happens if we bog it down in the 2,000 RPM range. Let me look at the comments real quick. Make sure. I like that they gave them a turbo on the EJs. I mean, you need a turbo to make any fucking power. I mean, a 2.5 liter NA 4-cylinder making what 165, 167 horsepower. What? They're so bad. The NA EJ is so bad. It lasts a long time because it makes no power. The 2.2 liter is a better motor by far than the EJ25 was. All right, let's take this log. The old single cam. Oh, you see that? A little boost spike. Take that, ABCS. Or, I mean, ABS. All right, I'm going to move my power curve. Give me a second. I'll show you these lines in a second. Let me just get to this. So let me start by saying that this 24 is definitely an improvement over the 20. There's no doubt that it's not an improvement. It's absolutely an improvement over the 20 by far. The tuning is better. The torque is better. It feels better. It's definitely an improvement over the 24. And in a lot of ways, the FA was an improvement over the EJ. There was a lot of things that they did that were better, but unfortunately, there was just so many things that they did worse. So, so that was a bummer with the 20. The 20 was trash though. The FA20 was garbage. But like I said, it had some improvements over the EJ. But yeah, that last pull, 215.8. Looks like we got a little more power out of it too by starting a little earlier in the pull. Okay, let's do this log really quick, guys, before we go and install a Cobb tuned map on here and see what kind of difference we get. There he is. I said a little boost spike. I saw it in the log right here. Almost 2 pounds over target. So when I got into it and it downloaded, it went zoom, went over and went down again. Look at the wastegate. This is millimeters open, right? So it started to overshoot the target. It opened the wastegate a bunch to do it, and then started shutting the wastegate back down again to add boost. And then as it went through the pole, the wastegate's opening a little more, a little more, a little more in this area. So that means the turbo, look at that, 4 mils, 4 mils, and then wide open at the end. So it's a really stable wastegate position. I'm seeing that. I like that. The mass airflow, wow, that's an improvement. They got the 222. That's interesting. Actually, I'm really intrigued by that right now. And boost is a little bit higher, so something made it go a little more aggressive on the top end. Because remember, before it was 215. This time it actually went to 223. So we did get a little extra airflow by trying a little harder earlier in the by starting at lower RPM. Pretty interesting. Log's not updating. Oh, because it's still on the other one. My bad. I have the other one open still. I gotta close that one. And I gotta reopen it. Uh, Second. All right, there we go. Actually, cool content. Congrats on oh, hey, thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah, I made some changes to it, and honestly, there might be another change coming. Can you guys see this log now? You should be able to, right? Yeah, I see it on screen. Um, I was doing a bunch of media measurements and getting the surface area of the available media, in the filters, as well as checking out different types of filters and all of that. And there's one cartridge filter that I think I want to try, but it's required that I change the design significantly. But it makes it skinnier, and that better facilitates fitting the headers and stuff. So it would make it the same size as the factory canister in width. It would just be longer. So it, it would be an improvement over stock with filter media surface area. That'd be good. It already has the relief built into it, so it's got the exact same setting of was it 30 or 20 something APSI? I forget now. My brain just parted that out. And so those things are all beneficial to making it smaller and fit in tighter spots. It's not as much media as the cartridge I originally wanted to use. So I'm kind of in the air about it because the one I want to use I really, really like. And so maybe I just end up offering two sizes, maybe. I guess it depends on how well it takes off. But like the big one will work on a Nissan Titan truck, for example. It'll work on Evos, it'll work on Subarus, it'll work on a ton of stuff. And the smaller one would technically work as well. I just don't know if it's going to have media for some of those other engines. So I also don't know how good the filtration is on it. I've contacted the filter manufacturer, the media manufacturer, to ask them about their filtration efficiency and their capture size and capture rates. They haven't got back to me yet. I doubt they will. My luck, they probably won't. So there's a secondary oil filter in my head. I haven't even drawn up yet, but I could probably. This one would be way easier and cheaper to make too, honestly. That I still might do. I still might do because it works for a lot of other stuff too, a lot of small motors as well. So I may just make one and test it on my own car and see what the pressures are across it and all of that and see if it's worth a damn. But definitely doing a bunch of things with that. So she's working right now, right? Hey, he's got a telephone. You can sit on the dash while he's working. Would you want to do a thermostatic plate for external cooler? Uh, yeah, Jason and we collaborate a lot. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about external coolers. I like the internal or the factory warmer. It warms the oil, brings the temp sooner, which is definitely a benefit. And then it acts as a cooler and keeps from getting too hot. So like the factory cooler is really good, and I do like it. I do like it a lot. But external cooling has benefits for sure. And I've already made an external cooler. I should say maybe I designed it. I have a whole nother system that's completely external filtration, external cooler, and it's a modular system that bolts together. And so you can bolt two filters in parallel and run two filters in parallel. So I have a external oil pressure regulator, external oil filter, external oil cooler sandwich plate with a thermostatic plate, right? But it's all modular and bolts on, and so you can just keep adding it, and it'll just get bigger if you want. It's a really cool system. It's just expensive, and so I haven't done it yet. And if this oil filter stuff works out, I will probably I'll probably bring it to market because it'll work for anything, not just Subarus. It'll work on anything, and it's really cool. I should show you guys eventually. But yeah, it's just a modular system, and you just take out two plugs to open up the ports to the other side, bolt them together. They're all O-ringed and they're already made to go together. And then you take the thermostat and you stick it on either end, connect your cooler to it, however you want to do it. And then it uses the Evo 8 thermostatic valve. HKS makes them in various temperatures. Other companies make them in various temperatures, so you can choose a thermostatic valve for whatever temperature you want it to be. So you're not stuck with just what I say. Here's the 170, right? You can get, and even for the Evo 8 and 9, there's a bunch of manufacturers that have them, and it's just the section, it's the actual thermostatic valve that opens and shuts. So it uses those. So it's super modular and adjustable and tunable for the end user, as well as the regulator. The oil pressure regulator is adjustable too, so you can raise pressure with some. Now, peak pressure, right? You can't just raise oil pressure by moving a relief valve. That's not how it works. But you can raise the peak pressure that you would get when you would normally have a relief, or you can increase spring pressure to help compensate for inlet restriction, all that. But actually, take that back. The external oil pressure regulator does not use oil suction pressure as a reference like the factory one does. So that means it does a better job controlling pressure at high RPM than the factory one does. The factory one, the relief valve is suction pressure to discharge pressure, and as flow goes up, it takes a lower than atmospheric pressure to move more oil quicker through the pickup tube, right? So the relief sees that. The relief isn't oil pressure, it's differential pressure across the pump that it's controlling. And so at higher RPM, your oil pressure drops because that relief sucks open some because it's controlling differential pressure. Well, 85 psi from atmospheric is one thing, but when your reference point is now 10 below or 15 below atmosphere, then that means you're only getting 60 or 70, psi at the engine, right? So some of that drop you get is friction in the intake pickup tube that is being seen at the relief and sucking it open, which is why some people shim oil pumps to help reduce that. It just brings that peak up. So, but you still have that same differential pressure control that they call an oil pressure control valve or relief valve. It's really differential pressure control across the valve, the pump itself. Whereas mine is external and it references PCV pressure, not suction pressure. So it's going to just control basically filtered atmospheric pressure for your the reference on your oil pressure. So you'll have better oil pressure and more stable oil pressure at higher RPM than you would on the factory pump. It's a long way of saying that the shit I designed is awesome and the other stuff isn't. That's really what I should get down to. Okay, what I should have done actually was loaded this fucking tune because it takes forever, and then shot the shit with you guys while the tune was loading. Because I honestly cannot believe how long it takes to load a tune in this thing. All right, so we're going to close this. We're going to disconnect from the ECU. That's going to free up our access port. Now we're going to load the cob map. Now, I have the headlight switch off, and the headlights still come on. So that's a bummer. I hate that they did that. But if you pull the handbrake, it at least turns on that way. Change map. Stage 191. There we go. Let's reflash this. Mark asked me, do you ever run ECU Tech Race Romp or Cybex demos? That's funny. So today on the dyno, no, it's not faster. It's slow as fuck. Look at this. Look how slow this is. It's still like 10 to 15 minutes. I'm at 3% now. 4%. It's horrid. It's horrendous. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. Makes me angry. Infuriates me. Okay, so race ROM on Subarus? No, never. GTRs? Yes. BRZs? Oh yeah, I guess BRZ. Yes, but not no EJ. I don't do ECU Tech EJ tuning. ECU Tech is a fucking ripoff. as a tuner, it's almost like ECU Tech hates tuners. They want way too much for their software. Holy shit, is it expensive? For each individual little model, you got to pay thousands of dollars. It's garbage, man. I hate ECU Tech. Um, their customer service is junk. Like, to get an answer to a question that isn't condescending is impossible. Their instructions, they have all these big write-ups and stuff, and they're not actually that helpful. Like when you try and ask like a simple question like, hey, what part of the boost control system is this affecting? They just like talk like total pricks to you. So no, Cobb doesn't own anybody. The company that owns ECU Tech also owns Cobb, but yeah, they don't. I'm at 20%, Jason. 20. Yeah, same parent company. They don't own anybody. They're owned by somebody else. But yeah, so they have the same policies internally as far as the emissions thing that goes on. But ECU Tech's in UK. Um, yeah, it's not good. Like, so I was doing race farm on an Evo on a GTR R35, and everything worked pretty good. But I was using their custom boost control scheme, um, and it's got a bunch of checkboxes like enable this feature, this feature, this feature. They don't tell you how to use the fucking features, and they don't tell you like what this checkbox does. And I ask them, and then they just give me the most sarcastic, condescending response, and still didn't answer the fucking question. So yeah, dude, I'm not a fan of ECU Tech at all, and they want so much money for it. And I paid for BRZ, GTR, BMW, and Supra, thinking that I would get the BMW for my BMW too. Nope. No, I have a Gen 1.5 BMW, which they didn't have done yet, and that's another $1,800 or $2,800, whatever the fuck it was, on top of already buying the B58. Like the Gen 1.5 B58 is a different tuning suite than the Gen 2 B58 that I paid for already, thinking that I was going to get my car with it too. Nope, you got to pay a bunch of fucking money to be able to tune the Gen 1 B58s as well. It's just a rape fest, man. They're so bad. They're so bad. And then the user doesn't get anything. Like, you spend $550 on credits to get your car tuned. You don't get an access port that's currently at 45%. You don't get an access port. You don't get anything. You get a cable that you plug into something that you supply. And if you want something like an access port, you can use your phone, but you got to pay for that separately. And it's a subscription, of course. You got to pay for it yearly to use it on your phone. Yeah, it's a scam. I don't like them. Now, so funny, Cyvex, the Audi that was here today was on a Cyvex S12. I have never used Cyvex before, so that was my first time seeing the software. It is definitely a British-based software. Watching it go, you're just like, I was watching my friend John tune on it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is so British. Like the ECU Tech, it's so British, it's so bad. It's not intuitive at all. It's not. It's a cumbersome stuff. I don't know. It's just weird. It's like you have to adopt a different level of thinking to understand what the hell they did, and it's not a higher level of thinking by any stretch. It's like throw shit at the wall and be like, okay, well that's the right side and that's the left side now. Like it's bad. It's not good. Um, but the Cyvex has got a lot of power. Like those things have got a ton of features. Man, they got so many features. You can do so many cool things with them. That's really awesome. I just don't like the software. Doggy! Someone's got a pit bull out there. Cute boy. Oh, actually, that's a girl. Cute girl pit bull. Um, yeah, the Cyvex, super. That's not a pit bull. That's part pit bull. Yeah, Subaru software is super clunky looking. Super Windows 98, maybe even DOS looking too. Like it isn't a modern looking UI by any stretch. It's not. It's not attractive. 77. This is ridiculous. Honestly, I gotta leave. Holy shit. My appointment's in 20 minutes. I gotta go. I don't think I have time to do this. Sorry, someone sent me a thing. 91. I gotta hurry this up. Doesn't take 12 horsepower to do 8s, by the way. Boy, some Subaru guys just have no clue. Hey, it's done. Now it's like 5 minutes to fucking reset it and everything. 36, 42, 48, 54, 60, 66, 72, 78, 84. Like, come on. Like, it does not take that long to reset the ECU. Oh, it's not reset the ECU. That's just to let it reboot. Now I gotta reset the ECU with this part. Alright. This whole thing is slow as balls. Maybe this access point needs to be updated. Maybe I didn't update it. Let's see. AP manager. Not popping up. There it is. Access port manager. Let's do that. All right. Cop, stage 1 tune on the car. I have very little time. I gotta do this quickly because I got an appointment at the dentist here at 4, and it's 3:39. I didn't realize how much freaking time I had spent waiting for this thing to do the install initially. Drive it and stop it and drive it and stop it. Do an update available for this? Check. Nope. It's newest update. It's just slow as shit. Yeah, I just updated software today, and as you saw by that firmware check, there was no other firmware. Boy, that exhaust cam is weird. Zeros all right there in that spot. Huh. Okay, dam's at 1 already. Good to go. That's good there. It really cooled off a little bit while it's sat. Let's see this pull done so I can get out of here. Uh-oh. Cop raised the rev limit. Uh-oh. It didn't make any more power. Yeah. It made less power. Uh-oh. What happened there? It made a little more torque, and it made a lot less power. It moved more air, but it made less power. Ooh. That stage 1 map's not what they said it was, is it? Let's try it again. Let me clear up a bunch of this shit here. I'll bring it back up. I'll bring one before it. I'll bring the last 2 poles. Right here and here. Hit load. Yeah, so wow. All right, let me enlarge my face on here so you guys can see the dyno computer. If I can get this thing to work. Here. Let's go to me. Like this. Let me get rid of the log. All right. Can't see it. All right. Do one pole first. Do one pole. Give him a fair chance. Well, that's a bust. Wow. That is a total bust. All right, let's connect to the ECU. And let me get into this camera here so you guys can see it. Got to disconnect the access port. Got to disconnect this. I said disconnect the ECU, you fucking cut. Let's go. Oh, good. Not responding. I'm glad. I'm glad the software crashed. That's weird. Never seen the export software crash before. But that, I mean, that was export software. And that's stuck on the screen even though I've asked it to close. This has been really good. It's a great experience. Thank you, Cobb. All right, check this out. Ugh. Let's see where we at. Okay, right there is the last pull I just did. That's this out of order. So just clear these all. Hit select. Okay, the last 3 runs. 5, 6, 7. Load those up. Yeah. So that's the last one we just did, the red one. So it made more torque up here, and then it fell on space. So the last 2 runs here are the Cobb. You see the torque gain right here, load the power gain right there, and then it actually made more power on the stage 0 tune than it did on the Cobb tune. It's not a good look. Fox, BMW. I say that with yeah, the BMW, the new, well, the Toyota Supra with a manual is a BMW. It's really good, really really good. So we got a lot of those. What else? The manual. That's tough. That's tough. Anyway, so the answer is yes, it is just another Subaru shitbox, just like we thought. It had unimpressive power. It actually made less power on the Cobb tune than it made on the stock tune. So that's a fucking problem. Cobb's telling people making all this power, 30% or some shit. That fucking wasn't the case, as you guys saw straight off the bat. That was definitely not the case. Made some more torque in the mid-range. That was it. But overall, it's just another fucking Subaru shitbox. There's nothing special about it. There's no wow factor to it. It's not making 400 fucking wheel. It's not underrated. It's none of those things. It is just another shitbox from Subaru. So, yay. But, this series isn't over. We're going to try and make stuff for it that doesn't suck and try and make it less shitty. But, boy, that is not impressive results at all. And I feel bad for Cobb that I just did this all over the internet so everybody could see that it's not anywhere close to what the hell they said it was. Boy, that's